Hey, my name's Andrew Waite. I'm really excited to share with you some of the experience that I had this evening doing an online breathwork session. It was um, facilitated by Michael Stone, and it was about 55 minutes in the session with some wind up and wind down time. And for the 55 minutes, there was music playing. I had my nice big headphones on and covered my eyes the whole time. And I was just laying on the floor on a yoga mat in my apartment here, all on my own. And for the duration of the session, I was able to basically stay dropped in, so to speak. I was breathing through my mouth, inhaling, exhaling, deep breaths, diaphragmatic breaths, and there were a few times whether I was speaking or having some other type of emotional response, um, or when I started to let the monkey mind, go for a little bit where I felt like maybe I was coming out a little bit, but I basically was always in it, and I pretty quickly could come back to the breath and stay in there. And so I wound up quite a lot of energy. I got very warm, and I felt tension in my hands and legs. I've been feeling tension in my left hip and left knee, and I was feeling some of that activate, just lying there, not moving or anything. So there was a few periods of time throughout the duration of the experience where I moved around a little bit, like wiggled around or raised my legs over my head, or did like a knees into the chest style, just kind of hugging my knees into my chest to feel closer to myself, to hug myself. But mostly lying there, flat on my back. I got very warm and felt a lot of the tension just come up. And so I had maybe 3 releases I want to share with you that I think were really valuable for me and hopefully for all beings. And one of them, the first one was basically an experience of laughter. And so I really trusted myself. I really trusted Michael, of course, and the whole context of this experience. But most of all, I trusted myself to breathe and just go with what would happen. And so I recognized really early on after dropping in that everything that was happening was my creation, essentially. And by I mean I amness. I mean the presence of the universe, the entire cosmos, and all that it ever is and all that it ever will be was me and is me. And so that presence, that responsive, unreactive presence, was fully online. And I felt like anything could happen. I felt like I could have heard any news or had anybody do anything to me or in front of me, and I would have not had to react. That it was a real sense of being in a detached, in a witness space. Of course, very much feeling everything in my body, and still watching thoughts go by, but I was not feeling like I needed to be reactive. So that was very powerful, and as that energy built, I had a number of sort of experiences. It would take me forever to describe, I think, because I really want to dig into it. But a lot of different energies came up and passed, and eventually I broke into laughter, and I laughed at myself, and I laughed at all of my previous incarnations. I found it hilarious, honestly, the way that I have acted. In good or bad ways, judging good or bad either way. I've found myself to be hilarious, and especially in my ignorance, in my like assumption or belief that I wasn't the universe and that I wasn't always already perfect. These teachings, some of these words that I'm saying, are things that I've read and heard from teachers for over 15 years, and a lot of that consolidated in this, my first deep session, and so very powerful. And so I laughed for minutes, and my throat didn't get sore or anything. Some of it was really hysterical. I had my headphones on. I'm sure if somebody was listening, they'd be like, "Holy moly, that guy is out of control." I was just laughing, but it was belly laughs. I think very connected. The diaphragmatic breath had me very connected and grounded, and so I was laughing from my belly and through my throat, and I could feel that. I could feel the expression of my voice and the expression of my joyful laughter from deep from my root. And even now I feel rooted. I feel like I want to speak so fast that I'm sort of getting ahead of my breath, but I am keeping it. And that's really important for me in general. I think that's important for all of us. And remembering that diaphragmatic breath and the in and the out of the belly, we can stay rooted in presence, and from there we can expand and have attention and awareness and be connected with others. And that's the practice that I'm going to keep grounded in. And so the laughter was really good and really important, and revealed a lot of the ignorance that I have had in the past. And so from there, I should note, by ignorance, I really mean clinging to the sense of an ego, or like clinging to a sense of separateness. Just ignorance of the reality of who and what I really am, primordially. The sort of ego constriction or primordial avoidance, or there's ways to describe it, right? But it's basically picturing myself as separate, as independent, as singular, as most important, owner of everything. So that's ignorance. So then, later on in the session, while thinking about many important people to me of the past or and currently right now, I just had a lot of openness and ability to feel like when I'm with them from now on, I can be present. I can be in this place where I'm breathing from my belly and my throat and my mind are connected, and I get to my mind, I get to thought from my belly, from that ground up. So I felt like from there, no matter how I'm thinking about myself or them or the moment, I can be strong. I can essentially be very strong and present. And that strength, that inner fire is what this is all about to me. This experience, consolidating it into a permanent experience, is what I think that's all about. And so a couple other breakthroughs, emotional breakthroughs, I think are important. At the very end of the session, Michael asks us to turn inward, remain inward, and very much turn inward and say something to ourselves, talk about how we felt, be endearing, connect with ourselves. And a lot came up for me. I love myself, I have faith in myself, I'm a positive thinker, I can do whatever I set my mind to. I can avoid not getting what I don't want in reality. I'm empowered. I'm strong. A lot came to mind, and pretty quickly after all that rush, and I was repeating, I love myself. I have faith in myself. I broke into crying. I broke into tears, and I realized, and I knew, I just felt viscerally in my body the tension and the emotional connection that anytime I've ever been engaged in conflict, especially, anger, especially if I've been uncomfortable with another person, or if they've been uncomfortable with me, and it's just that negative energy, it's sort of that anger. When I felt that and when I feel that, I'm only hurting myself. And I cried that out. And I think there's more to it for me personally. I think there's a lot to that for a lot of us, of course, but that's okay. For me personally, I know that feeling that is really important, to understand that if I harm others without with a negative intention, if I have a negative intention and I'm being harmful, I'm hurting myself, and I'm gonna have to feel that, and I'm gonna lock that up in this tension, and I'm gonna have to bring it out somehow. And I can do that on my own in this breath work. I can do that on my own in the moment, and that's really important. And so I think then there at the end, and again after I do this video, I needed to shake it all out. And so I stayed connected with the breath. I really dropped in. I really feel like it's something I can do on a permanent basis. It's going to take work. It's going to take continued effort to stabilize, but it's something I can do. And whenever I bring up all this tension and emotional release, the most fun part is going to be to shake it out. Whew. And you can just feel it in your body. You can just feel it all, but that ability to build up the tension and then release it and shake it out, I think is incredibly healing, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to do this breath work. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening to my video, and good luck, and I hope you find the practice meaningful yourself.